let's judge these banned cards and see if they're worthy of being pulled off the list or not. Hey there everyone, and welcome back to an ongoing series where we take a look at the TCG side of Yu-Gi-Oh's ban list and discuss whether or not any of the cards can come off of it. So before we get to today's 4 cards, let's take a look at the comments from last week from Tenebrae17. Starting with the Molchemy. Yes, I am well aware of the second one being announced, and I watched MBT's video on both of them, and when he talked about the second one, he also reiterated on the first one. So on the first one that was announced, he stated that it was more or less a watered-down version of Maxi. Sure, it does have that lingering effect, as you have mentioned, but it is a watered-down version of it, as MBT has stated. Now, the second one feels a little bit closer to what Maxi is, but it feels more or less like a monster version of Nightmare of Mirage and Nightmare. God, I had to actually remember that. But it does have the lingering effect, as you have mentioned. So, yes. Yeah. MX Saber was banned for enabling Goki extra link combo through Isolde. Okay. Yeah, the OCG field is completely different. So, who knows? It's really all on Konami, the TCG side of Konami, as to whether or not they really want to. But regardless, it's not as potent as it used to be. So, from what I actually saw earlier, one of the biggest ways to bring out MX Saber actually involved marauding Captain. So, yeah. Rangaminiad is another card that isn't worth trying to fix. I mean, they could try to have, like, a downgraded version of it, but who knows. Historically, prior to Gossip, Shadow, Ignite, Pendulum combo had several top, making this after. Yeah. Like I just mentioned, it's really up to the TCG branch of Konami if they really want to bring anything back. Galaxy Tamak is legal in Master Duel. It does nothing there, but I'm highly skeptical of a card that's easy to make. Yeah. It makes 5 tokens. You would have to slap on the tokens. Yeah, I believe I did mention the restriction of linked material, just like with the other one, Aurora Dawn. If you limit it to 2, then there's literally no reason to play this card over Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack. I have no idea what that is or what that does. Which makes 2 tokens and has other utility on top of that. It was a spur of the moment kind of tool workshop fix. So, who knows? And for the last one for today's comment reading, Shockmaster was banned for being a degenerate stun card. Lingering sounding card. Well, I did look it up, and that's what came up was Floodgate. That is the purpose. That is its purpose. There's more fixing it, and cards like it should. Well, if they made a stun card similar to that, it would have to be a kind of stun card that isn't immune to monster effects or destruction. So that's really all I'm going to say about that. But anyways, let's get to today's cards. Let's go ahead and start with the first one, which is number 89, Diabolosis, the Mind Hacker. So this number card is a rank 7 Dark Psychic Overlay Effect Monster, which has the requirement of 2 level 7 monsters. Its effect is, once per turn, you can detach one material from this card, look at your opponent's extra deck, and banish one monster from it, face down. At the end of the battle phase, if this card destroyed a monster by battle, you can target one card in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, face down. If a card your opponent owns and possesses is banished face down while you control this card, except during the damage step, you can banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck face down equal to their face down banished cards. You can only use this effect of number 89 once per turn. Oh boy. Yeah, so this card got banned because it can banish on top of banishing, on top of banishing, on top of banishing. Wow. So, would there be any change? Could it come back? Well, the first and foremost, no. Though it doesn't have inherent protection, as I'm looking it over once again, being able to banish a lot is something that even the better, even the one-time use cards can't do. And the only other cards that deal with that kind of stuff on that kind of scale are banned because of how good they are. That being Return from a Different Dimension, I think that's what it was, the magic card. Pay 2,000 life points and then just bring back as many cards from the banish pile as you can. There was a trap card that did something similar, and then there's another one that was bringing back, was it level 3 or lower monsters? I want to say that's what it did. But yeah, this one with no changes, I would say no. Now, if it were to come back with changes, yeah, it would be. I don't know if there could be any good changes done to 89 to have it come back. So it'd be something to workshop. Other than that, no. I highly doubt it could come back with no changes whatsoever. All right. So, card number 2 for today is number 95, Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon. It is a rank 9 Dark Dragon Overlay Effect Monster. It requires 3 level 9 monsters. Its effect is you can also overlay summon this card by using a Galaxy Eyes overlay monster you control as the overlay monster material. Overlay materials attached to that monster also become overlay materials for this card. Cannot be used as an overlay material for an overlay summon. When this card is overlay summoned, you can send 3 dragon type monsters with different names from your deck to the graveyard. Your opponent banishes 3 monsters from their deck. You can detach 1 overlay monster material from this card. This card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn. Okay, so this card was banned due to being able to mill out cards from not only your deck, but can also mill out cards from your opponent's deck as well. Well, I mean, not mill, I mean banish cards from your opponent's deck. And the fact that it could use a use a Galaxy Eyes monster just makes it that much more easier if you ran a Galaxy Eyes deck. So yeah. It also was a higher... It's also, I believe, the highest base stat attack monster with multiple attacks per battle phase without really any modifiers. There's a few, but I know there's a really old one that doesn't have nearly as much attack. So yeah. It's also banned in the OCG being able to easily enable first turn kills with Gandora X, the Dragon of Demolition. So yeah. In the TCG, it was abused to send Archbrave Dragon and Amorphage Goliath to the graveyard and lock the opponent from doing anything with the extra deck. So yeah. Could this monster come back? No. Like I mentioned before, being able to mill out monsters from your own deck and banish cards from your opponent's deck is too strong for a monster for, like, what? No overlay unit cost? Like, how did that even pass the initial phase? Whatever, I guess. Could there be any changes for this card? This is another one that I don't know if it's worth looking into, especially with it looking like an Eldritch Horror. Hell, they could have called it Outer Entity and it still would be too strong. Yeah. Yeah, I highly doubt it. It would have to be something to ponder over. So, no. Either way. So, with that said, let's move on to card number 3. And today's card number 3 is number S0, Utopic Zexal. Utopic Zexal is a light warrior overlay monster, effect monster, with the requirement of 3 number overlay monsters with the same rank. Yeah. This card's effect is this card's original rank is always treated as 1. You can also overlay summon this card by discarding 1 rank up magic normal spell card, then using a Utopia monster you control as the overlay material. Transfer its overlay monster materials to this card. This card's overlay summon cannot be negated. When overlay summoned, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated. Gains 1,000 attack and defense for each overlay material attached to it. Once per turn, quick effect, you can detach 1 overlay material from this card. Your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated this turn. Yeah. Okay, so the reason why it was banned, too anime. It did too much for too little real cost, I'm going to say. Yeah, you could bring this out with Utopia, normal number 24 Utopia, by ditching a rank up magic. It doesn't even specify it has to be a particular rank up magic either. And then it just comes out to the field with 3 overlay units. Even if you had just not normal or overlaid it, it just has those 3 automatically, which means it has the 3,000 attack and defense right then and there. And it has protection upon summoning. and it can negate everything that your opponent can do with the cards on the field. Though I'm not sure if it also counts the cards in the hand. I think it does. Whatever. And then it has a quick effect that does the same thing. Whoops. Can this card come back on its normal turns? No. Like I said, it's too anime, and it feels like it's like, okay, I get this card out, and you can't do anything. Which is completely, totally separate from the mini-ad, which required a certain number of overlay materials. This one just has it. Doesn't matter. Could there be any changes? They'd have to have a dumbed-down version of Utopic Zexal to even remotely be thought about before anything could be mentioned as far as a variant of this card coming back. So, no. It would have to be a super dumbed-down version, too. So, yeah. So that's a big no. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the last one. And once again, another overlay monster. So, card number 4 for today is Outer Entity Azathoth. As this monster is a rank 5 Dark Fiend overlay effect monster with the requirement of 3 level 5 monsters. Its effect is you can also overlay summon this card by using Outer Entity Overlay Monster and Outer Entity Overlay Monster you control as material. Transfer its material to this card. Cannot be used as material for an overlay summon. This card, after this card was overlay summoned, your opponent cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn. If this card has at least 3 overlay materials, 1 fusion, 1 synchro, and 1 overlay monster, you can detach 1 material from this card. Destroy all your opponent's... Right, destroy all cards your opponent controls. Yeah. Okay, so this card got banned because it has generic requirements, and it has the cost for its ability is too low, regardless of the fact that it requires 3 of the 4 known summoning mechanics, that being fusion, synchro, and overlay. I believe, if I'm not... 2020. Okay, so this came out after Link Summons, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But I believe it came out after Link Summons. But, like I said, its effect is too cheap for what it can do. It also says, no, you can't do anything with your monster effects. However, it's not immune to track cards and quick play magic cards. So, do with that as you will. Could this card come back? Honestly, if they really wanted Outer Entity cards to come back, this card, in its normal form, I don't know if it could. Like I mentioned before, its effect is too cheap for how good it is. But could there be an effect change in errata? I think the only thing they could do is that they could get rid of the line of text of the protection against monsters and do something else with it, and then maybe, just saying that, if it did have enough of a change to where it could be brought back, it'd be at 1. But that is a guess. So, yes. But beyond that, no. Nah, it's just too strong. And they made something that is basically the level of what's his name? Shit. I actually have to think this through. Okay, Cthulhu, without actually making Cthulhu, which is kind of stupid. Oh well. Anyways, like I said, it can't come back with normal effect, with its effect changed, and it would have to receive a really heavy one. It's not the same level as Utopic Zexal, where it's just too anime. But yeah. Anyways, that is going to do it for me today. Next time we might hit up one of Yu-Gi-Oh's most famous cards. But until then, everyone, happy dueling!